Hey Browns fans, Nathan Zegura welcoming you into the debut episode of X's and Joe's, because I'm going to be joined throughout the course of the season by the Hoff, Joe Thomas, and by Browns legend cornerback Joe Haden. We're kicking it off this week with the Hoff. How else would you do it? The Gold Jacket himself. And X's and Joe's, as always, brought to you by Keep It Fun, Ohio. And so what we're going to do is take you into the film room each and every week. Take a look at some of the big plays from the Browns game the week before, and maybe even get some bonus treats from the Hoff and Joe Haden along the way. We're going to start by looking, and we say keep it fun. How can you not keep it fun when the Browns are 1-0 after a 24-3 win over the division rival and state rival Cincinnati Bengals? We're going to start now with Deshaun Watson, 13 yards out late in the second quarter. And Hoff, I know you're excited about this play, so much to digest. Just take it over. Tell the people what they see. Unbelievable audible by Deshaun, getting into the end zone when we needed it.
Yeah, having a running quarterback when you get into that red zone area is such a weapon because you add an additional blocker. You got an unbelievable setup right here. Typically, you're going to go with two plays in the huddle, and that's exactly what the Browns do here. They've got two plays called. They line up with Jerome Ford in the backfield. They see the pressure look from the Bengals. They see two linebackers walked up. They know that they probably got man coverage to the trip side of the field. That means when they audible and Jerome Ford goes into a quad formation on the far side of the field, that they're going to get exactly what they want because now it's a numbers game. Here you go. Deshaun Watson's going to run the quarterback counter, right? He's going to get the snap, take a little bit of a drop back to give themselves a little bit of time, give the puller time to get around to the outside. And then what you're going to get on the backside is a take-two philosophy. You want the widest person from the play to be free. That's exactly what they do. DeJuan Jones blocks the B-gap player. You've got Wyatt Teller pulling from the backside, kicking out, giving Deshaun Watson the little bit of a crease that he needs. And then watch the great job on the outside by Amari Cooper, right? Amari's job here in this, because he's got one-on-one coverage, is to press. And if the defensive back runs into him, he blocks him. But he does a really good job and he takes two, right? And a lot of times a take-two block doesn't mean you have to cream two guys and pancake both of them. What you need to do is block one and then block the other one with your body presence. That's what Amari does, right? He runs up. He doesn't get a clear look if the guy is coming and forcing, or if the guy at cornerback is trying to replace. And so what he does is he blocks the cornerback for the Bengals, and then he uses his body to screen the defender, who's the only person who can make the play on Deshaun Watson, running from the far side of the field. No match for the speed of Deshaun Watson is any interior player, safety, or linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals, and Deshaun Watson is able to easily stroll into the end zone at Cleveland Browns Stadium untouched for the first touchdown of the season.
That was an offensive highlight, but this was a day of the defense, and it started on the Bengals' opening possession. And my goodness gracious, Myles Garrett, the killer crossover, shades of Tim Hardaway, shades of AI Allen Iverson, and Hoff, take me into an offensive line room. That center's mine. He knows he's got the guards fanning out. He is truly one-on-one here. My goodness, that had to be scary.
The center, all he's thinking about is he needs to go to the sideline after this play and find the nearest equipment manager because he's going to have to change his shorts. Going one-on-one against Myles Garrett is not anybody's favorite thing to do, especially a guy on the inside that's not used to that quickness and the suddenness that Myles Garrett has. But this all starts with Jim Schwartz and the setup that he has here. Kevin Stefanski talked in preseason how he doesn't want to show his cards, right? He wants to save his best stuff for the season. That's what you get here, right? You've got three great defensive end pass rushers. When you line them up on the field, a lot of times what an offense is going to try to do is they're finding the pass rushers. That's where you want your big guys when you're blocking a protection with only one back in the backfield or an empty backfield, right? You want to make sure your bigs are blocking their bigs. But when you know how the offense's protection is going, you can take advantage of it. And that's exactly what the Browns do, right? They know that if they move Myles over the center in this situation, they've still got four-ish pass rushers. Jim Schwartz does a great job setting this up by putting Awok over the left guard, making him look like he's a dangerous pass rusher. So maybe a little confusion by the Bengals because they haven't seen this look on film just yet, and they don't know exactly who are the identifiable pass rushers. And in that situation, a lot of times an offensive line is told, hey, just go 5-0, just go Gilligan. Everybody's on an island. That makes sure that we've got all of our big offensive linemen blocking their big defensive linemen. But in this situation, oh, no. Bad decision, because what does that do? That puts Myles Garrett one-on-one in space with your center with no guard help. Instead of what they should have done, and if they see it again on film, what they probably will do is they'll give a walk to the running back, and then they'll try to double team with the left guard and the center on Myles Garrett and give that poor boy a chance. but it's not today. And that's exactly why you don't show your best stuff in preseason, because you get your war daddy one-on-one against the center in an impossible situation. Now, he doesn't get the sack, but you got enough guys hustling to the football, which is what Jim Schwartz and his defense preaches every single day in practice, and they're able to get the sack here by Obo, bringing down Joe Burrow to the Cleveland Browns turf.
Yeah, Obo's got to give Myles Garrett a little credit there. If you back that up for a second, I mean, it looks like the center is trying to take a prom picture with Myles Garrett at one point. How is a flag not thrown there? He's got him from behind, fully around the waist. There are two officials there. Look at them, two of them looking right there. No flag. And now it doesn't matter because the Browns got it done, but when you look from this angle, I mean, Myles Garrett is fully wrapped up and held around the waist by their center. How's that not a flag? What's the deal?
Yeah, I think that the referee that was watching here knew that it was going to be a sack, and he felt bad for that poor center because he had no chance in this situation. He figured, I'd keep the flag in my pocket, keep the game rolling because I know it's going to be a sack anyway.
So the Browns defense dominant with the pass rush, but they also had tremendous coverage all day long. You're talking about M.J. Emerson, Greg Newsome, Grant Delpit, who we're going to see here, Denzel Ward, Rodney McLeod, the linebackers, everybody. The coverage was sensational, limiting to Joe Burrow to a career-low 82 yards and 2.6 yards per attempt, under 50% completions. But here was a critical play in this game. The Bengals go 4 wide, and so the Browns match that with what we call a big dime defense. So that means you got 3 corners, 3 safeties. One of your safeties, when you got the 4 receivers out there, has to act as a corner, and in this case, it is Grant Delpit. In the slot, one-on-one with T. Higgins. T. Higgins, one of the best receivers in the NFL. They run here, Hoff, the slot fade. This, in the Bengals' mind, is an absolute win. And then Grant Delpit says, not so fast. What a PBU. The very next play was the missed field goal by McPherson. This was a game-changing play by Grant Delpit.
Grant Delpit does an unbelievable job in a nearly impossible situation for a guy who's normally a safety. When you run that slot fade and you're one-on-one and your safety's in the middle of the field, you've got no help to the outside, and the offense has tons of space. He's lined up on the numbers, and typically if you're getting a fade and you're a corner and you're defending that, you're lining up about 5 yards from the sideline, and so you're much closer. You have half the amount of field to play defense here, but Grant Delpit does a great job staying close in phase to his receiver, who would be a number 1 receiver on just about almost any other team in the NFL, staying in phase right there, not getting the pass interference, which is huge. A lot of times those safeties get a little bit too handsy because they're bigger guys, not quite as quick, but keeping in great position, getting the hand up, getting the pass breakup. An incredible job for a guy that naturally is not normally going to be doing this in our defense, but you got to give a little bit of props to the pass rush, right? This pass rush was ferocious all night. It was forcing quick throws, and this is how you can get away with running some of these 3 safety on the field looks when you're going to put a safety on a dominant wide receiver. Is, you're going to get home. We trust the technique of our secondary safeties to be able to play coverage for 2 or 3 seconds and get the job done, to be able to force a quick incompletion by Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he did a great job there. The pressure from Obo in Burrow's face maybe made him throw it a second before he wanted to. And Delpit, you saw there, T. Higgins gave him a little bit of a stiff arm there to kind of create that separation. Delpit fought through it, got the PBU. That was a huge, huge play for the Browns. And Delpit, coming off a season where he's one of 3 players in the NFL to have more than 100 tackles and 4 picks, feels like he is breaking out right now for the Cleveland Browns. And folks, this game, that defense, what you saw there, that travels, and it will travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers on Monday Night Football. And now, Hoff, the Steelers, they're a pretty good defense. It's led by T.J. Watt. DeJuan Jones replacing the injured Jack Conklin will make his first NFL start. Do you have any advice or maybe any clips that you could share with DeJuan to show him how to handle T.J. Watt?
I just sent him the clips of me blocking T.J. Watt in my last season in the NFL and T.J. Watt's first season in the NFL. And the one bit of advice I would give for going against a guy like a T.J. Watt who has no weaknesses in his game is, you want to change up your set on him, right? Because if you're going to do the same thing 2, 3, 4 times in a row as far as your pass set goes, he's going to figure it out and he's going to find the weaknesses and he's going to exploit it. But if you're constantly changing the game up, if you're a pitcher and you're giving him the changeup, the curveball, the fastball, the 2-seam, the 4-seam, you're never allowing him to get comfortable, and he's never allowed to be able to feel like he can take advantage of your weaknesses. That'll put you in the most advantageous strength position going against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL.
So that'll do it for us here on the debut edition of X's and Joe's. For the Hoff Joe Thomas, I'm Nathan Zegura saying, let's go Browns into Pittsburgh, another big win. And next week, we're going to break it down with a guy who played for both of those teams, but really, he's a Browns legend, quarterback Joe Hayden.